go, pal. Three, two, one.
This
Hello,
is my good
welcome
side.
to
Okay.
North Palm Alumni's next chapter, where we're going to focus on and highlight some of our alumni's journeys in a condensed, kind of quicker version instead of hearing a 45-minute a story or kind of journey. We're going to condense it into like 5 to 10 minutes, and we brought Joe on, and Joe's going to kind of tell us what brought him to North Palm and to look for recovery.
Yeah. Um, Before I came to North Palm, I was at the lowest point in my life. I was a heavy fentanyl user. I started with pills. Pills became bad. Mostly people who are here for that know how the progress went. Go to pills. Then I started doing heroin. I was doing heroin for 2 years. Then magically it turned white, and it was fentanyl.
Hmm.
And I was doing enough to kill a small elephant every day. And I was at my lowest point. I went from being an accountant where I dressed like this every day with a shirt and tie, and I was very respectable, even though I was a heavy drug user. No one suspected anything because I always kept it on the level. Never was nodding out. I just kept myself good until I went home. Then I would be,
Very sharp
pumping it.
looking during the day.
Yeah, I was very sharp, very, very sharp. But then I was running outside from my work to go buy drugs
Yeah,
around the corner.
yeah.
Um, I went from doing that to being homeless in about 3 months. I spiraled out of control. My best friend overdosed and died, and I just went off the deep end. I was homeless in the city of Trenton, New Jersey for about 3 months, actively every day trying to kill myself with fentanyl, and it just wasn't working. I finally came up with a plan where I was going to shoot fentanyl into my neck until I died. And my cousin called me and intervened with me and got me to go to treatment. And that's how I got to North Palm.
Well, so like, and I can really relate to that story. Like, unfortunately for alcoholics and addicts, usually it takes us getting our ass kicked for us to ask for help. But so when you ended up finally getting to North Palm after your Trenton, Philadelphia, and South Jersey journey, what was North Palm like? What was like one of your favorite moments, your favorite therapist? Kind of expound and tell us about your North Palm experience.
Okay. My very first North Palm experience, I got here. I was in the middle of COVID. Everything was on Zoom, but they still did your intake in person. I went up to the clinical building. The first person I met was Jenna, who was wearing an Eagles lanyard.
Shout out,
And
Jenna.
as soon as I saw that, we connected right away, and I was happy to be here. I was originally like, I just got done doing 90 days of treatment in two different places. I thought I was cured and ready to go. Everyone was telling me, you are not cured. You need as much treatment as you could possibly get. So I was taking suggestions, and they told me this place was already set up for me. And I was like, okay, let's go to North Palm. It was around the corner from where I was doing my residential treatment. I met Jenna right away, and we clicked, and she became my therapist. I was the nightmare of a client, but I'm also the number one client because you're going to see me first, and I'm awesome. I worked for North Palm. I basically worked for North Palm since the day I left treatment. During treatment, I was a nightmare of a client for the beginning because I had already done groups and I was getting sick of it. And I was like, I don't want to hear about self actualization. My toolbox is full. I don't want to do arts and crafts. It's not going to keep me off fentanyl. I was very, we had interns that ran groups sometimes, and I was not nice to the interns.
Yeah.
But then uh, a new therapist started doing night group. I was doing night group because I had a job. Her name was Melissa Smith. She totally changed my perspective on how I was as a client. She told me, she's like, you have been sober for almost 9 months. A lot of these people are have like 2 months sober. You need to start sharing your experience and how the things we are doing in group helped you stay sober this long. And that totally changed my perspective. And I was like, oh, I'm like one of the senior people here. I should be helping guide the new people by speaking in group and sharing my experiences. And from then on, I was a model client. I shared my experiences. I did everything in group. I told them what we were doing and how it helped me when we first started. And it really just changed my perspective on the whole thing. If I didn't meet Melissa Smith,
Yeah.
I would not have probably done as well as I did because she made my whole mental like thing flip around.
Yeah.
And when I was doing night group, I saw Jenna as my therapist and we were doing great at that part, but like I wasn't in groups with her. She didn't know how I was misbehaving. She would find out later, and then I would get called into the principal's office, aka Todd Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Very nice man, very great guy. He runs the show and has also helped save my life too. He's a great guy. We love him.
So,
But
quick
yeah,
question
that
though. So, if you were giving a new client, or not a new client, but somebody that's been here, like yourself, when you were kind of resistant, some advice or like, hey, like instead of banging your head against the wall, other than like, hey, Melissa said, like, hey, Joe, like this is how you can be useful. Like, what's something else that you might have learned? Like, oh shit, I wish I had started doing that earlier.
like when I was in the early part of my recovery, going through detox and residential, I was taking every suggestion that everyone gave me. But then when I got here after about a month, I was like,
Mm,
I know what I'm doing. It's time to go. But then I still like once I realized I'm probably not ready to go. My head's still fucked up. If I go anywhere, if I go home, I'm going to go back out and start doing drugs again. So I started taking every single suggestion from every single person that had any more time than me. Even people that had less time than me. If they gave me a suggestion like, Joe, you should probably start going to more meetings. When I first got here, I was going to meetings every day. Slowly but surely, I started just doing the minimum of going to 4 meetings a week because it was required by the housing. And I wasn't getting anything out of the meetings anymore. It wasn't filling my cup, like
yeah,
they say.
yeah,
But at the same time, I still needed them. I was just not into listening to people's stories anymore.
sure.
Like, yeah, like and now I love going to meetings and listening to people's stories. I love hearing how they got sober, how their journey was, and seeing if I can relate to it in any way, if I can take things from them and maybe use it in my own life. So, yeah.
All
Uh,
right. Well, so lastly for you, like what, like looking back, right? Hey, they say we live forwards, but we understand backwards. But like looking back, like now, like how you look at the world or perceive the world or your relationships or stuff, like what has changed or like what are you surprised like where hey maybe 10 years ago you would have reacted a certain way, but now because you've kind of found recovery, and obviously we don't lose who we are, right? But like maybe we're a little less sarcastic or a little less passive aggressive. Like what's like how are your reactions today compared to 10 years ago, 5 years ago?
Okay. Like 5, 10 years ago, I was just if someone told me to do something, I did it. I didn't argue, didn't fight, I wasn't me.
Yeah.
I would just be a shell of myself and people could run my life for me. Joe, you got to go to college. Joe, you got to get a real job. Joe, you should be an accountant.
Mhm.
I did all that. And like, I was miserable, absolutely miserable. Nothing in my life made me happy. I had 3 wonderful children. I loved them to death. I would do anything for them, but they did not in any way make me want to get sober. I was miserable. I was a shell of myself. And once I realized that I wasn't being me
Authentic.
and just sitting there with my mouth closed and not expressing myself, I realized that was a lot of the reasons why I was doing drugs. I was just miserable and wanted to like be me, I guess.
Yeah, no.
And yeah, and then like one day it just snapped. I like I came after I got sober for about a year, I went into a depression because like the pink cloud was gone, life was catching up to me, and I was like, oh, recovery, I'm still sad and miserable. After about that year, I had to like kind of an awakening moment, like where I was staying, I had to move into somewhere else, and like I was on my own for my recovery for the very first time, and all I wanted to do was be sober and show like who I was in life. So I started speaking, I started talking to people, I started like being myself.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have diarrhea of the mouth, and the things that come out of my mouth are insane a lot of the time, but it's just me expressing me.
Yeah.
And I try to make people happy. I try to help as many people as I can now. That is something I never would have done. I was shy, introverted, wouldn't talk to people. Now I see a new person come into this building. I'm one of the first people to talk to them. Hey, how you doing? My name is Joe. I used to be a client here. I always tell them that. That way they know, like, hey, look, this guy's
One
successful.
of
I
us.
was a
Yeah.
client here. Now I work here. I work here and I work in housing. And if you need anything, you come to me. I can try to get you whatever you need. And hopefully that makes people feel warm and welcome. That's what I try to do.
That's the point, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Did
Well,
I answer the question?
no, you answered it perfectly. And
Okay.
lastly, like again, you mentioned Melissa, you mentioned Jenna, but I'll give you a chance if you want to shout out any clients you were with or any other staff or any situations, but just if you kind of like, hey, oh, what about Johnny and what about Billy? So if you want to shout anybody out, now would be the time.
Okay. I have my roommate George. We've basically been roommates for 4 straight years. He's one of my best friends. We have helped each other stay sober just because like neither one of us want to disappoint each other. Like, and that's not a great way to stay sober, but we are recovery buddies. Like,
Yeah.
if he has a problem, he comes to me. If I have a problem, I go to him, and that's a fantastic relationship I built up. And he works for the company now. There's also Allison. Allison is one of the best therapists here. She works part time here now, but she sees a lot of former clients and helps everyone that she can, and is still part of this community as much as she can. Of course, Jenna. Jenna saved my life. Jenna's our clinical director now. She was the best therapist I've ever had in my life, and she helped me see what the underlying problem was that was making me do drugs.
Yeah.
And if I didn't have her still, and she's one of my best friends now, but she was my therapist. She's the clinical director here. She runs this place like she still wants to help every single person she meets.
Yeah.
And she tries her best and she loves every client that comes in this place, including me. And like I didn't feel like I deserved love when I met her, but me and her hit it off right away and she definitely saved my life.
Yeah.
Right now we have and Todd Gonzalez. Yes, he was the case manager here. He put up with my shit because like I regressed when I got here. I acted like a fucking teenager. I spouted off in groups and was doing stupid shit all the time and just being a dick.
Mhm.
But he guided me. He helped me. He helped me see what I was doing wrong and why I was doing it, and was actually quite patient with me. And when I met him, I thought he was the principal of the place, but no, he was the clinical or
Yeah.
I don't know what his
Skipper
job
of the
title
boat,
is,
we
but
call it.
yeah, he's the boss of everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but he did great. Frank, the CEO, since I've started working here, I've had a lot of interactions with him. Me and him have hit it off, and he has helped me through some personal shit a lot. Um, well, I feel like I'm leaving people out. We have
Well,
new therapists. We have Erica, who's fantastic. She's always there in case like something's me and her can bounce off each other, and she's always there for me if I need to talk. Kiani is a fantastic therapist at this place, and she does everything she can for clients. And seeing her and what she does for people is inspiring. We have Susan, who loves every single person she meets and wants to help every single person. And I aspire to be like her every day because she is just a wonderful person. Yeah, and the rest of the staff are great too. But
yeah,
yeah,
like
yeah, those
again,
are
working in getting the chance to work here. It's again, you could tell people care. It's not just hey, client number 12. It's like hey, it's Joe, and we know Joe's about family. We know everything. So it's kind of this invested in the whole everything about the client, not just like hey, this is just another person that's going to come in for 28 days.
yeah.
With that being
They
said, go ahead, finish your thought.
they every single client that comes in here, they want to help get sober and do everything they can to help them
Yeah,
like get back on track in life.
yeah, it's
And
awesome.
some people take the suggestions, some people don't, but they want every single person to recover and work a program and maintain long-term sobriety and have a good life. And that's what this place is.
Well, again, I appreciate you taking some time to sit down with me. And again, my name's Andy. I'm our alumni director, and we're going to have this
Andy's fantastic too.
on our
Yeah.
private Facebook North Palm page, and we'll also have it eventually on our private Instagram page. But again, this is to highlight our alumni's journey, and it's also to if one of our current clients maybe is here for 2 or 3 weeks and they're on our socials and they're thinking about leaving, they might be able to click one of these ons and find some inspiration or some hope to maybe stay because it's pretty cool. We get to see for my job, I get to see people after they come in on day one. I get to see them after they've done all their work, and I get to develop relationships with them then. So I get to see like the cool part, but when they come in broken and busted, I don't always get to see that. So again, thank you to Joe, thank you to North Palm, and that's our first episode of North Palm's next chapter. So awesome job, Joe. Appreciate it.
Remember, I'm number one.
Always number one.
Where do we go from? Where do we go from here?